What's up, guys? It's your boy Blackrue back with another video. Before we get started, cue Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting, so we binge on our Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. That course in this race we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing.
My man Indigo. Today, guys, we'll get started with Horizen. So let's get into it. Let's share the screen here, and we'll pull up Horizen. So before we get into the price action, let's hear from one of the co-founders. And I find it's always good to hear from the founder, see if the founder's competent, if he's not, a Sam Bankman fraud, just make sure founder's confident. And then from there, we can go into different things about the price and where it can go. Now, keep in mind, this is from like a year ago. And shout out to Crypto Coin Show for this. Now understand, he's going to mention Celsius in here. So Celsius stuff didn't necessarily age well, but it seems like their focus is enterprise crypto, trying to use blockchain in like enterprise companies. And Rob Villone will get into that a little bit. Viglione. Ooh, jeez. Just butchering the man's name. Rob Viglione. Okay, so here we go.
Teams also focused on enterprises quite a bit to help them get involved as the big money flows in and the conglomerates flow into blockchain. Can you talk a little bit, maybe on the enterprise side, about some of those problems that these big companies are having getting into the industry and how exactly you're helping?
Sure. So there's a few big ones, and one, probably the most important one, is that a lot of enterprises don't know how to use blockchain and really why they want to use it. Everyone knows.
Okay, let me do the captions here. So if you missed it, let me just go back for people who might not necessarily, people who might need captions. Let me just go back a little bit for that, for them.
That your team is also focused on enterprises quite a bit to help them get involved as the big money flows in and the conglomerates flow into blockchain. Can you talk a little bit, maybe on the enterprise side, about some of those problems that these big companies are having getting into the industry and how exactly you're helping?
Sure. So there's a few big ones, and one, probably the most important one, is that a lot of enterprises don't know how to use blockchain and really why they want to use it. Everyone knows that this is an important technology. This is the future in some way. A lot of them are now really grappling with in what way. Right? So now one of our biggest focuses in Horizen Labs, the software development company, is working with enterprises and getting them familiar with the technology, and then helping them guide them through specific use cases that it makes sense to use blockchain for, and not just using blockchain for everything. Other important ones are congestion on popular public blockchain networks, prices that are scaling with usage in ways that really don't lend themselves well to large-scale blockchain adoption. And then probably the last one, and really bread and butter for us, is a lot of businesses and their customers don't want to put sensitive information on a public ledger without strong privacy.
So this is one of the things that Richard Hart touched on. Check out one of my past videos where I go over, is Richard Hart right? He was saying that there would need to be some privacy implemented because, hey, if an enterprise company's like working on salaries, they don't want you to know necessarily that employees' salaries, that's obvious, right? And they also don't necessarily want you to know what they charge a client X or client Y, you know what I mean? So, so those things are going to need to be private. And when we talk about privacy, a lot of times we talk about it from like the user standpoint, where it's like, okay, I shouldn't necessarily have to disclose everything that I'm doing with my money, right? In this case, again, they're saying, okay, for businesses, they don't want to disclose, okay, if I got employee X for this amount of money and employee Y for this amount of money, I don't want employee Y, if he's getting paid more than employee X, I don't want employee X to know that he's getting less than employee Y or something like that. Or I don't want company A to know that they're getting, they get a way higher rate than company B. So they're going to need privacy for that point. And let's continue on here, and we're going a little bit faster with it so it doesn't take us as long. Something's up with my Google where it's not in line here, but
Definitely, and I think that last one is super important, and that's partially why not all enterprises are using public blockchains, and there are private blockchains and hybrids and so on, where they can have more privacy and that confidential information for enterprises, which has a lot of value in it, is protected. And I'm curious, you've really seen blockchain on the enterprise side for the last few years now. Can you give a snapshot of what does it look like throughout halfway through 2021 here, enterprises entering into the space compared to this time last year, some of the important indicators in how many enterprises are actually getting involved in blockchain right now?
Right, so the two biggest stories in blockchain over the last year were NFTs. And on the enterprise side, NFTs are really where a lot of enterprises are using their entryway into the blockchain space, right? They're thinking about NFTs in a much broader context than just collectibles, although some of them are using the collectibles concept really well. Although others are looking at NFTs for things like digital subscriptions and getting tens of millions of NFTs out there to their customers. So that's a very interesting kind of gateway for a lot of enterprises. The other is on the DeFi side. And DeFi hasn't really been an enterprise adoption piece, but this is the other really big story in cryptocurrency. And for some, like one of our partners and customers, Celsius Network, it really has been a major part for them. So Celsius Network.
We're going to skip this part because we already know kind of what's going on with Celsius. But he's saying enterprises are getting into DeFi and NFTs heavy. And he said there's some other things like Internet of Things that they're getting into, but not so much as DeFi and NFTs. Now, we're going to move over to Xanadu, their side chain. This is very important. So we'll start with this information and see what the founder says here.
That's great to hear. And yeah, to be able to provide these different layer one solutions, I think is going to be a great foundation for these enterprises. But I also was reading into the fact that Horizen has built out their own sidechain, Xanadu, and the sidechain has, at least with the public chains that are sort of lagging in scalability, it seems like it's a lot more scalable, at least for enterprises that are going to need to have a lot of throughput. Maybe you can talk a little bit about Xanadu, how you've been working on it. You were speaking about sidechains last year when we were on the show, but it seems like now it's almost ready to deploy to the mainnet. How is that functioning within the platform, and how are enterprises needing that?
Yeah, so it's actually massively scalable, and I'm glad you brought it up because we are positioning ourselves to be blockchain infrastructure for the enterprise marketplace. So we've been taking very meticulous steps over the years to make that possible, and some of these steps have been a little humble and quiet. Like we built out the largest node network in the industry. So right now we have over 40,000 servers running around the world that are ready to support this big enterprise blockchain infrastructure. Xanadu itself is massively scalable. So each blockchain is a proof of stake blockchain, and we can have about 1,000 of them running in parallel on our network. So this is more than 10 times our even like the most scalable competitor that we come up against. In terms of transaction throughput, if you have 1,000 blockchains running in parallel, they're proof of stake, so you have like 100,000 transactions happening per epoch of blocks. On average, we have something like 3 million transactions per block that are supportable on our main chain. Each block is every 2.5 minutes, so it comes down to like 20,000 transactions a second. It is huge. Now it's not. Now we have to put this in context. It's really not meant for like high frequency trading type of use cases. It's not that kind of lightning fast because we have a global distributed blockchain network, but it is massively scalable for real blockchain use cases at the enterprise level.
Wow, that's great to hear. And 40,000 nodes, that's a lot compared to some of these major public networks. So that's crazy that you've sort of it's bigger news that not a lot of people have heard that. Is there a specific advantage, like the more nodes, the better, or maximum decentralization, or what is the competitive advantage of having tens of thousands of nodes?
Right. So, number one, your network never goes down. So that's really important. And in particular, because we have seen some other networks actually go down for some days, which is kind of weird in the blockchain context. But some networks really don't have a lot of nodes supporting them. So that's kind of
some networks that go down for a couple of days. Solana, of course, we know what's going on with them. Solana, there's news that Solana's lost like 97% of its coders. I'm not sure what to think about Solana long term, but that's a different conversation. So he talked about chaining side chains together, chaining them together in order to get like a 3 million TPS throughput. According to their coin market cap, it's actually up to 10 million TPS if you chain all those side chains together. So speed seems to be something that Horizen has here. So that's going to be very, very important. But let's continue to listen to Rob here.
I would say probabilistically close to zero for us, but you can achieve that with hundreds of nodes. You don't need 40,000 nodes. Why we have 40,000 nodes or more than that is because we have now a sidechain system, and we want to build a sidechain marketplace so that anyone can launch a sidechain. Like we said, you can have with a V1 of our software, like 1,000 of them running in parallel. So we need a large set of nodes that could actually be working with developers and businesses so they can run their sidechains. So if we have 1,000 blockchains running in parallel, 40,000 nodes is actually probably maybe even too small. Maybe we need more, although they can run multiple sidechains in parallel. So we built out the network specifically for that purpose, and it's been very successful thus far, and really can't wait to go live on mainnet the system.
Definitely, and that is incredible to hear. And for those viewers that are sort of just trying to understand, a lot of people understand Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they don't really understand enterprise solutions as much, or enterprises that are just looking to get involved. For these sidechains, is that more specifically when you're attaching it to a public network or for hybrid and private? Because if you have your own private blockchain and you could have the scalability, since you don't really need to have the decentralization in different nodes, is that more focused on there, or why would the enterprises specifically need to take advantage of the ZEN sidechain?
Right, so a number of different reasons. And one, because we use the type of cryptography that we do, and zero knowledge crypto, it had a bit of a splash with Zcash going to market back in 2016, 17. Now, we're going to see in, say, 2022 and beyond, I think ZKPs, zero knowledge proofs, are going to be that critical missing link, linking private blockchain to public blockchain. So it's kind of like that link, in the early days of networking where you went from internets to the internet. The technology that we've been working on is that link, because you can run your own private blockchains and you can still use our public network through the ZEN2 protocol to validate or at least verify that the transactions that happened on your private network actually were valid transactions and conform to the rules of the system. You can publish the rules so the entire world can see what the rules are for what you're trying to achieve with your blockchain, but you don't have to disclose the data that's actually going on your private network. So that's the big missing link, and really to get to your question, we want to bridge the gap between public and private blockchains so that we can actually provide the value that public blockchain brings to the market, which is really information integrity or information certainty, immutability, the big things that blockchain brings, but still have that big privacy element that governments are going to demand, enterprises are going to demand. So we really do want to straddle that kind of critical value proposition.
Definitely, and that's great.
Basically, so he said, basically what Xanadu is going to do for enterprises is allow them to have that privacy portion, but still kind of have the speed and have a portion public facing that they want to have public facing, okay? And still maintain the speed and throughput all at the same time. So I think that's all we need to hear from him. If you guys want to hear the rest of this, go over to Crypto Coin Shows Network. But for now, let's look at the price of Horizen here, and we're going to look at couple other things here. So price of Horizen actually looks very good. Catch another one of my shows where I said, is DSG dumping? And we looked at a couple articles and we said it's a possibility that DSG was dumping, and DSG, is the parent group of Genesis. And Genesis, they shut down all trading because they were involved in the whole FTX thing. Genesis is the people who own the loans for Gemini Earn. So they're involved with the whole FTX thing. So that's affecting DSG. And people are thinking that they're selling some of their crypto assets that may have been in Grayscale. Possibly. So it seems like they're selling off some of their crypto assets, one of which would be Horizen. And you can tell, started at $10 here, creeped all the way down to $8.50. $8.23 at 1.2. So very good looking price when you consider this one's really only seen, okay, I guess it's seen 2 bull runs, right? So it got as high as 57 last bull run before last, and got all the way up to 140 last bull run. So maybe the up and coming bull run in 2024, we see this all the way to 200 or more. And if we think of it that way, you got over, gosh, at 200 you got over a 19x. Yeah, at 200 you got over a 19x. Because 10 times 20, so like a 20x at this $8 price. So very, very insane. Very low supply. And this also has, it can be mined. So you got the proof of work security coming along with Horizen as well. Another thing to note, they work with IOHK, which is Cardano's company. So Xanadu makes Horizen a permissionless network of blockchains. Developers can deploy their blockchains within the ecosystem using a variety of SDKs. The first set of SDKs, Blaze and Lattice, deploy blockchains based on IOHK's provably secure Ouroboros proof of stake protocol. Blaze offers high-speed chains that declare their own certifiers and can run up to 1,000 TPS. But you can see here, cryptographic verification of network chains offers massive scale, and the network currently supports up to 10,000 side chains with a throughput limit of 10 million TPS. As far as I know, other than Raditz, which I think only has 1 million TPS, this is the fastest crypto that I know of. And you heard him say that this is a need for enterprise blockchains, or for enterprise companies. Enterprise companies need a lot of throughput, meaning a lot of transactions per second, because a lot of time they're dealing with big data sets. Now he's saying it's not big enough to deal with like trading, like a whole like trading house, like trading crypto or trading like in the stock market. It's not fast enough to do that, but it's fast enough to do still a lot of big data sets. That's what he was saying in the video there. So very interesting. Now, one other thing, and he said it in the video too, like it seems like you can do privacy things, but if you wanted to, you could open it up to be entirely public. So when it's labeled a privacy coin, it's private for the things that enterprise wants to be private. Okay, it could, if it wanted to, let everything be public. It has that flexibility. Now, I know there were some scares because the EU is actually banning privacy coins, but it's privacy coins in a sense of maybe a Monero or a Dash, where the focus is for users' privacy, not for enterprises' privacy. So, and you can see here, one thing they mentioned, the U.S. Treasury imposed sanctions on the Ethereum-based privacy tool Tornado Cash when it was said it was used to raise money for North Korean weapons program. The first time sanction powers were invoked against this decentralized protocol. Who knows if that's true or not? They want, this is what they want. So you can see here, the EU's own MiCA agreed, but not yet enforced, prevents exchanges from allowing the trading of anonymous crypto assets unless they've identified the holders. So it really shouldn't need to be that way. It should need to be, it could be trustless, but they want to know the holders, they want to know the holders. So who knows if Tornado Cash was doing it the way that they say, that it was like used for for North Korea's weapons program or whatever. That's allegedly, you know, this is what they say, but I tend to think no. I think that but anyways, that's another subject. So this Horizen is not privacy in the same way here. Horizen is privacy for enterprise companies. That, I think, is fine. So you wouldn't necessarily need to worry about privacy enhancing tokens being banned, because they're all about privacy from the enterprise level. Okay, so that you really wouldn't need to worry about. One other thing here, they have a pretty cool ecosystem. Let's go bring up their website. I thought I brought it up. So you can already see here that they got some things on their ecosystem. Most notably, Dash is actually on their ecosystem, but Dash kind of emphasizes privacy, I believe, from kind of the user point of view, not from like the enterprise point of view. So that's intriguing that Dash is on there. Morpheus Network, a lot of people believe in it as a supply chain crypto. I need to do a video on this. Shout out to the Tokenizer. I think he likes the Morpheus Network. So we got Dash here. We got IOTA, which is Internet of Things. It's also ISO, I believe it's ISO 20022 compliant. Jargon Chain, I've never heard of those guys. So we had a couple things down here. DIA, APIS, .arcade. So a couple LTO, couple different chains down here, but the ones I know, Sikoba. Okay, so the ones I know are IOTA for sure, Morpheus and Dash. So pretty interesting. I think this is a pretty cool bet, because industries, enterprises are going to want, they're really going to want to have their privacy, and this is something that seems like it can provide it for them, and it already has a pretty cool, decent speed right now. So Horizen looks pretty good to me. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know your opinion, guys, in the comments. Let me know if there's another video you wanted me to do. This was a suggestion from one of my users, one of my viewers. Let me know what you guys want to see, and check out some of my past videos over here. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one, guys. Peace.